Everyone, so in this video we will have a continuity of this previous video. So what you see in this screen is the coding from the previous video. So if you watched the previous video, you know what is in the screen actually is. So now you know what happens here. So if someone is more than 18, action 1 is happening, so otherwise action 2 is happening. So for that, first for the action 1 we have if condition and we check it, and if it is false we go for the otherwise condition. That means false means otherwise, right? If it is not, someone is not more than 18 means otherwise, right? Otherwise action 2 we are going to do. So we have if and else. So what if you have to do action 3 actions, let's say more than 2 actions. Let's say if someone is more than 18, you are taking action 1. If someone is exactly 18, you are doing action 2. If someone is less than 18 or let's say otherwise, you are doing action 3. So you have 3 choices, right? If someone can be more than 18, someone can be equal to 18, and someone can be less than 18. So all the 3 chances are possible. So now you want to do 3 different actions for all the 3 chances. So now this, because this now within this else condition, we have included the 2 possibilities: equal to 18 and less than equal to 8, less than 18, right? So that is why we have less or equal 18. But what I want to happen is someone is more than 18, equal to 18, or and otherwise. So if someone is not more than 18, not equal to 18, then obviously that person is going to be less than 18, right? So I will say not. So first thing is, if someone is more than 18, we take action 1. So not and equal to 18. Okay, so first one is false, but I am giving the second option. It is not true, but don't take all the not trues. Not, but it has to be equal to 18. No, let's say, or we can say otherwise if equal to 18. Okay, so this is another kind of if, right? So this otherwise is for this first if, because if otherwise. Okay, if someone is more than 18, do this. So otherwise, that means if is not true, then check whether he is equal to 18. So if that is so, take action 2. If that is also not true, let's say, so if that is not true means what? Otherwise or not. That means both are false. So more than 18 is false, equal to 18 is false means what? Less than 18 is true. So that means we have a not. So not means not for both. Okay, both of them are not true. We have, what we have to do? We have to take action 3. So now we will see action 3. So look at that algorithm first, right? So that means first this line, look at the line number 1. If someone is more than 18, so if this is true, we take action 1. Okay, and what we will do? We will skip action 2 and action 3. Logically think, if someone is more than 18, you take action 1, then other chances are not possible, right? He cannot be equal to 18, he cannot be less than 18. Or let's say not other things, that means more than, equal, and the other thing will be obviously less than. So that is not possible. So let's say if someone is not more than 18, so a particular person is, this is false. The first thing is not true, false. So I will immediately skip the action 1 and I will check whether the action 2 is true. Action 2 is true. So I will check whether that person is equal to 18. So let's say that person is equal to 18. That means this part is now true. So since this part is true, I am going to take action 2. I have skipped action 1 because we found that is false. Second thing, action 2, we check and we find that is true. So we are doing action 2. And since action 2 part is true, that means this equal to 18 is true, then the third possibility will not happen. He cannot be less than 18, right? He cannot be so. So then I will immediately skip the third part and I will keep calm. So let's think about other scenario. This is false, first thing, like line number 1. More than 18 is false, so I skip action 1. Then I will check, I will come to the next line and I will check if that person is equal to 18 or not. Okay, and that is also false, so I skipped action 2 as well. And now I have the chance to check the third one because the first 2 are false. So now we check third ones, that means else or not, that means both are not true. I am going to do the action 3. So I will immediately do the action 3 and I will shut up. So let's see how we can implement it here. So it is almost same existence. So I will have the first, that x20. So you know from the previous video, you know what we have done. So x20, serial begin and everything. So also we have the previous code. So that we can edit that for the moment. So in the previous code, what we have done is you can compare it with this scenario, right, with this algorithm scenario. So in the previous code, what we have done is for the first condition more than 18, we print more than 18, and for every other condition we have an else setup. Within that we write less or equal to 18. But now the problem is we cannot do like that here, right? Do this here. We need to check another condition whether it is equal or not, because earlier whatever not greater than 18 we used within the else condition, but now we have to check another condition whether it is equal or not. If it is not equal, then we have to go for the every other possibilities. That means it is obviously less. So how to do this is, first we have an if condition, and then what we have to do is let's say I'm going to edit the else condition in a manner so that it can be used to check the second condition. So what you will do is you will have else and give a small space and write another if. Understood? And you open two brackets. Okay, and within that bracket you have to check the other condition. So simply this is the format. What I am talking is very, very important, guys. Okay, so else if x is equal to 18. Okay, so I will give double equal 18. Here please note, when we are checking x is equal to 18, I am using two equal signs. So this is called comparison operator, if I am correct, right? Because if here you see, when you assign a value to x, you use single equal, right? But here when you are checking the value whether it is equal or not, you use double equal. So that is why the difference is there. To assign something, assignment operators, you use single equal. To check whether the something is equal or not, you use double equals. Please remember this is true in almost all the programming languages. So when it comes to operators and all, we will look at this again, but for the moment you should know this so that you can use this in the correct manner without any errors. Okay, so that's fine, right? That you have to remember, you have to write it somewhere, or you have to keep it in your mind. Okay, that's fine. So now if first condition is false, so look at this algorithm and compare the code with that, right? If first condition is false, I'm going to check the next condition, that is means else if. So just not an empty else, but else with an if. So else, check this if please. So I check that if and I find this is true, let's say. So I have to implement whatever you write within these two curly braces. So this else if also a continuity of this if. Let's say this if has two wives. So else if is the first wife of the if in the first line number 10. So first we check this if that is false, we check the next else if. If this if is true, we are not going to check the other thing, right? Okay, I will tell it again, right? So and then what I will do is, if this condition is true, if this condition is true, I will do whatever we have within this two curly braces. So that means x equal to 18. So I will change the text equal to 18. Okay, please see this. Okay, equal to 18. So now we can have the third condition. So for if both of them are not true, we go for, so if not both of them, please do these things. Action 3. So action 3 is just what? A simple else. So if both of that if are false, do the third thing, that means else. So else means that both if are false. We have two if, right? Line number 10 and line number 13. So pure else means if every other above conditions are false, do these things. So in our condition, the third else means, that empty else means x is less than 18, right? Because either x has to be greater than 18, equal to 18, or less than 18. So greater than 18 and equal to 18 we have checked in the line number 10 and 13. So the other else can only be the false condition of both. So what is the false condition of both is x is less than 18. So I think this is understandable. If x is not greater than 18, or if else is not equal to 18, then obviously x is less than 18. So what you will do is you will serial print. Okay, you serial print x is less than 18. So you will say less than 18. Less than 18. Okay, less than 18. So that's purely fine. So now you can see this, what happens is when x is greater than 18. So the first scenario, I will put it a little bit up. Okay, so look at line number 10, x is greater than 18. When it comes true, we will do this line number 11, whatever written with these two curly braces, that is owned by this if 1, the first if. So we will do it and we will skip this else if and this else, the next else. Okay, so if we do this whatever first if is true, obviously we know this else if is also false, and this else also a false condition. So we will skip everything from line number 13 to line number 18. So I hope this is understandable. Okay, and then we will come to the line number 19 and we will again start the void loop. So if x is greater than 20, then obviously we will print more than 18 continuously, right? So let's say I am making x exactly 18. Exactly 18. So I will remove this part so that I can have some space. I should be a little bit careful, otherwise everything may be deleted sometimes. Okay, so what's happening? I'll make some space. Okay, all fine, right? So now x is exactly 18. So void setup we will forget, because that will run one time and initiate that serial communication. And void loop will come and check the line number 7 to see whether x is greater than 18 or not. And we know that is false because x is now exactly 18. So 18 is greater than 18 is false, because you understand what I am talking about, right? So this part, this area will be skipped. So since this part is a false condition, we have to check the next part. So what is the next thing? Else if is there. So we will come and check that else if. You can compare it with the algorithm I wrote that I deleted now. So you can, if you have any doubt, you can rewind the video and have a look at that and come back to this. So now we are checking the second condition of this particular if. So we check here. So we look for this and we find this is true because x is equal to 18. So this is true. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do whatever we write within this area. So equal to 18 will be printed, and then we don't check this else because one of these two if become true, right? So since this if is true, we don't do check else, you know, right? If condition becomes true, we don't check the next else. Okay, so because else cannot be true, obviously, if that is true. If the line number 10 is true, then obviously line number 13 will not be true, you know that, right? Common sense. So program will skip that else part and it will come here and it will repeat that loop the same way. So let's decrease the else a little further. Let's have x is 10. That means this third else is going to become true now. So program will come, check the first condition, x is less than 18. That means x value is 10. 10 is greater than 18 is false. It will be skipped. It will immediately skip everything here and it will come and check the next condition. Why does it come and check the next condition? Because first if is false. Otherwise it will not check any other conditions, any other else if, any other else related to this if, right? It will never check. So it will come and check here and you will see x is 10, 10 is equal to 18 is also false. So it will skip everything within these two curly braces and it will come look for the other else. So since all of the else if are false and this else doesn't have any if, right? Obviously. So since all of the if conditions are false before this else condition is going to now run. You understand the point, right? Because logically talking, if these two are false, obviously this final else is going to be true. Or we can say the final else means only do this final else if every other if and else if conditions are false. Please come here. So these two are false. So these two will be skipped. This and that, this both will be skipped, and program will get into this else condition and it will print serial print less than 18. Okay, that is beautiful. So and also since the loop is iterating, it will continuously keep printing the whatever the less than 18, right? So it will true for everything, right? All of these three successful serial printing values. So that is fine. So now you know how to use if, else if, and if you want, you can have more else ifs. So if you want to have a range, let's say you want to have another value to be displayed for x is equal to somewhere between 10 to 18. So you can have like this, something like this. X is more than 10. So you can have any number of if else condition as you want. So that means what? We will first check x is greater than 18 or not. So if that is true, we will ignore everything else. We will do it and we will come to the end of this if else game, right? So if that is false, we will check this. If this is true, we will do it and we will skip the rest. If this is also false, we will come to the line number 13 and check. So that means it is not greater than 18. It is not equal to 18. Maybe it can be greater than 10. Greater than 10 means what? It means it is somewhere between 10 to 18. It is not more than 18 because we already checked it here. You understand? So when we check it the third time, that means the x value is more than 10 but not greater than 18 and not equal to 18. So x value is somewhere between 10 to 18. So then we will print like some other values, right? So we will say we can print 10 to 18 if you want. So like that, any number of if else condition you can have. So whenever throughout the loop, if some else if condition becomes true, the rest will be skipped. They will even not be checked whether that is true or not, because we know if one is true, everything else is false. Even if this is also false, you can write another empty else. So and you can write something like this. So if this is less than 10 even, if it becomes less than 10, then if all the false conditions are true, if else conditions are false, you can write something else within this else condition. You can write less than 10, something like that. And also remember, nothing is compulsory here. You can give up on these else conditions. You don't need to write it compulsorily. Okay, so this is enough. Only if and to else if is enough. It is not a must to have an else if or else. Okay, so then what will happen is, if this is less than 10, program will not do anything. It will not display anything. So like that. So and also, if you write an if condition, it is not a must to write an else if or else. You know that already, right? Because we earlier at the beginnings we only had the if condition without else or else if. So it is at your convenient. You are planning to do these things. So most probably this if and if else if conditions, or else along with else, why those things are used is, let's say you want to give marks, ratings to the students. Let's say for the students who are getting more than 90 marks should get A rating. Students getting somewhere between 75 to 19 may need to get B rating. And some students who get more than 50 to 75, maybe they have to get C. And whoever get less than 50, maybe have to have a fail. So for that conditions, you can use the same logic, if, else if, else if. So you can finish everything with else if, or if you want to have an else, logically thinking, you can do that also. So try that out using the knowledge you have. For the last condition, you can use else if you know that this is exactly possible. This will not make any harm. You can use else. So, or if you want, you can have else if also there. So it's up to you. So now I hope you get some idea about how if, else if and else conditions work. And also remember, if you want to have another if, still you can have with no connection with this if condition. So let's say you are going to check another if. Okay, so and write some condition here. So this if is something else. Okay, this is purely new. So when you say a pure single if, that means it is a beginning. This if in the line number 16 doesn't have to do anything with the line number 7 if. So this if and else if, everything is related to this guy. Okay, so let's say if this if is true, so every other else if will be skipped, right? And the line number 16 if will be checked. It will not be skipped because this is another if. You understand? You are going to check, willing to check for another condition now. So you may write another else if conditions for this if as well. But remember, this is what we can. So this is this if and its neighbors. Okay, and this is a new if. So he may have his own neighbors. You understand what I'm talking about? So you may need to check something else here. Like let's if you want to check x is like x by 2, or value maybe like maybe like 1, things like that, right? So this will be newly checked. Okay, this will always become program will come and check that if, because this if doesn't have to do anything with the previous if, so the program will never skip it. It will come and check it because this is a new guy. You understand what I'm talking about? So you understand, like that you can have any number of if conditions and along with its own else and else if conditions. So he and his 2 wives, and if you write another if, he and his 2 wives, so that if also will be checked by the program. So you don't need to worry. So you may need to check another variable using another if. So that is possible. So only this if and else if has to have the connection that if one becomes true, others become false. So it will have no effect in the new if that you are going to use. That new if's condition will have effect on its own wives. That means its own else and else if conditions. You understand what I'm talking about? So I hope you have some good idea. So as an exercise, try to do that marking scenario, and if you have any issues, you can ask in the comment. I will be happy to reply you. So I can scroll out throughout the program, so then you can have a look. So you can pause and have a look if you want. Okay, so I will catch you up with the, so before that I want to tell you, we studied if, else and else if. So most important things. So if, else, if, else, also you can write everything. So I will catch you up in the next video. Until then, have a great day ahead. Bye. and please do subscribe us, and bye guys.